Thank you for joining us for our first ever Black Girl Freedom Week. My name is Cidra Sebastien, and I'm the manager of the Black Girl Freedom Fund. And before I get started, I want to give a shout out to our co-founders, Latasha Brown, Tarana Burke, Fatima Goss-Graves, Monique Morris, Joanne Smith, Salamisha Tillett, Shaharazad Tillett, and Teresa Younger. Thank you so much for all the work that you've been doing and all the work that you continue to do. So let's get started with the recap of the week in case you missed it. On Sunday, we opened up the week in solidarity with the missing and murdered Indigenous girls, women, and relatives movement. We held space with Black girls and with Indigenous girls as they were in conversation about the impact of this crisis in their lives. On Monday, we kicked off the day in conversation with Dr. Monique Morris, Executive Director of Grantmaker for Girls of Colors, the organization that houses the fund, and actress, writer, producer Rashida Jones. They lifted up some key points around the fund, namely our goal to see the investment of $1 billion in the lives of Black girls and gender-expansive Black youth and their families over the course of the next 10 years. Later that day, we were able to listen to conversation between student activist Naomi Wadler and Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. During that conversation, they talked about the leadership role of Black girls and Black women from the grassroots to the halls of Congress. They talked about policies such as the End Push Out Act, the Crown Act, the Breathe Act, and other policies that, if put into place, would have a huge impact in the lives of Black girls and their families. On Tuesday, we were joined by Teresa Younger, another one of our co-founders, who is also the president and CEO of the Ms. Foundation. She was in conversation with Tanisha McHarris, founder of Black Harvest. Together, they gave a charge to funders who are thinking about how to resource this movement. Teresa offered that funders need to do three things. They need to name that they're going to invest in Black girls. They need to track their investment, and they need to increase their investment. Tanisha reminded us that we cannot do this work without having a racial justice and gender justice lens, that we get to, in fact, match the urgency of this movement in our robust funding of Black girls. Wednesday, we were joined by another co-founder, Fatima Goss-Graves, who is also the president and CEO of the National Women's Law Center. She was in conversation with two amazing youth organizers, Afia of Soul Sisters Leadership Collective and Maya of Black Swan Academy. Together, they were in conversation about some unfortunate incidents that took place earlier this month. We witnessed at least 3 incidents of police and student safety officers attacking and harming Black girls in New York and in Florida. The 3 talked about not only the severity of these incidences and examples of how often the safety and justice of Black girls are not considered, but they were very clear on their calls to action. Maya and Afia especially clear that what needs to happen in our schools are cops out, counselors in, and adults listen. Later on that day, I had the opportunity to hear from Dara Baldwin, disability justice rights activist, and learn so much about what is happening in that community, specifically what is happening with Black girls with disabilities. She spoke about the origins of the disability justice movement and also what some of the experiences might be of Black girls with disability who are navigating sheltering in place because of the impact of COVID-19. She talked about the fact that for many of these Black girls, they are not receiving the essential support that they need in order to continue their development. On Thursday, or Lord Morrison Day, we honored the birthdays of Audre Lorde and Toni Morrison by curating two special events. One about writing Black girls' futures, and the other, movement and meditation inspired by their artistry. First, our conversation with actress Kelly McCreary, Danielle of A Long Walk Home, and Eva Rain of Marsha P. Johnson Institute. Together, the three talked about the role of the arts in humanizing Black girls. Danielle, a photographer, talked about a recent project where she got a chance to collaborate with Netflix, A Love Song for Latasha, to document her friends, her community, and Black girls. Eva Rain talked about her role as an actor and writer and desire to see more stories that don't just highlight the trauma and harm experienced by Black trans girls and Black trans women, but more stories that talk about their friendships, their happiness, and the fullness of their lives. Together, the three named the need for more stories that tell the fullness of Black girls. Later that day, we were joined by yogi, dancer, and anthropologist Amy Cox for a movement and meditation session inspired by the artistry of Toni Morrison and Audre Lorde. She used these two quotes to center us. First, Audre Lorde. When you dare to be powerful, to use... First, Audre Lorde. When I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid. And Toni Morrison, you are your best thing. Friday, we started off the day with a national agenda for Black girls by Girls for Gender Equity. Setting us off was President and founder of Girls for Gender Equity, Joanne Smith. She shared the 6 policy areas of that agenda: education, wellness and reproductive health, immigration and racial justice, expanding democracy for young people, ending gender-based violence and creating a culture of consent, and passing a Bill of Rights for Black girls. She was joined by Damala, Logan, Umu, and Ama in a conversation about centering Black girls and Black gender expansive views and a national policy. Later, we were joined by young people of A Long Walk Home and their executive director and co-founder, Shahrazad Tillett. Together, Montana, Ivy, and Azaria talked about the arts and therapy and healing for Black girls. Azaria read her poem, Ode to My Girlfriends, which ends in these lines. I wanted to write a poem to my girlfriends. I wanted to write a poem to girls that are not broken, but are healing. I wanted to write a poem to girls who believe that crying is therapeutic. I wanted to write a poem to show just how at peace Black girls can be. Together, they talked about the experiences that they were having during these COVID times and also lifted the importance of finding time to love yourself. One of the stories that was shared was of a young person talking about her experience right now, caring for her mom, supporting to babysit a young niece, cooking for a whole household, and managing school, and the need for more spaces for Black girls to talk about how they're feeling, what they're thinking, and receive the support to be healthy and whole. Saturday, we closed out with a conversation about Black girl magic and what an investment of $1 billion in the lives of Black girls and their families could really mean. There, we're joined by 3 amazing young people: Chloe, Soleil, and Phoebe, representing the Brotherhood Sister Soul and Marsha P. Johnson Institute. Together, they talk about the real sparkle of Black girl magic and have us think about what this investment really means. Thank you so much for joining us for our first ever Black Girl Freedom Week. If you didn't get to catch our events throughout the week, we encourage you to go to our website to take a look at everything. And that's 1billionforblackgirls.org. And that's the number 1 and the number 4. 1billionforblackgirls.org. We encourage you to look at the events, the conversations, the DJ sets with Andre, Latil, Kiana Parks, the meditation and movement with Amy Cox, and all the conversations featuring young people, Black girls, and gender-expansive Black youths, giving us clear direction on where we need to put our investment and where we need to put our efforts to ensure that all Black girls, all gender-expansive Black youth have everything they need to experience joy and to thrive in their lives. Thank you for showing up, and we encourage you to show up throughout the years to come.